Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Alexiot's here, and it is Wednesday, and the Raptors are going to play the Charlotte Hornets on the road tonight. First game of a couple games on the road against Charlotte and Boston. So we play Hornets tonight, Celtics on Friday, and we have some get back against both those teams. So we'll start with Charlotte. This will be the fourth game of the Charlotte series in the season this year. We won the first game against them, but we kind of got derailed the last two times we played them. There was, of course, that overtime victory that they got on us where they did not lead the whole entire game until the very end of the game to go to overtime and then beat us. And then they caught us in a bad place with our roster and missing certain players and beat us again. So it's currently 1-2 for the Hornets right now. And we need to win tonight to even the season series because unlike the Hawks, we're not going to sweep the Hornets. We have to try and even it out with them. And winning tonight is essential to that. Winning tonight is essential to that. Of course, the Raptors are in a precarious position in the Eastern Conference right now in the standings because they're only like a half game ahead of the Sixers, and the Sixers are nipping at our heels. And in fact, this morning on the ESPN Power Rankings, they've flipped the Sixers above us on the power rankings. We dropped one spot on the ESPN Power Rankings last night to a 12th. We were 11 last week, but now we're 12th, and the Sixers are the team that jumped ahead of us. And I guess they're putting the Sixers above us in the power rankings of ESPN because they see that they're getting healthy and they feel like, oh, they're doing well, and maybe they should invest in going for it this year by doing things at the trade deadline to bolster their roster to go for it. You do that, Philly. I hope you do. I hope you spend a whole bunch of money and do all kinds of crazy shit with your team, and then Joel Embiid is not available for the whole entire playoffs. I hope you do this. Seriously. Seriously, I do. I hope, and also Paul George flakes out in the next month or so. Go ahead, invest in winning, invest in the mirage that your team is an actual playoff contender. Go ahead, please. Please go all in. Please do it. Please do it. It would just be the latest way that y'all have mismanaged the Philadelphia 76ers by the end of that. So, yeah, this is what ESPN's saying about us this morning. It's Zach Cram. Toronto is in the market for a center as Jakob Poeltl hasn't played since December the 21st due to a back injury. Even when he has played, Poeltl's stats are way down this season. That's partly because he's been hurt this whole season. He has been playing hurt, and that actually does affect his stats, Zach. He's at 9.7 points per game, down from 14.5 last season, meaning an upgrade at the position could bring a big benefit to the Raptors. Yeah, I don't know about that's true. Honestly, I think that he's fine. It's just that much like the guys on the bench and different people on the Raptors, they've had to adjust to new scorers on this team, taking bigger pieces of pie because they're the go-to guys more. And Jakob in his offense last year was partly because we needed people to score. But now that we've got Brandon Ingram on our team, he takes a lot of shots and a lot of points away from other people that are on our team, like Ochai Agbaji, Grady Dick, and Jakob Poeltl. So just looking at stats without any context or reasoning or meaning is not usually successful. And I think this is an underhanded way of them trying to say we should drop Jakob Poeltl because we know that you're a better team with him on your team. That's really how I read this right here. Because honestly, even if he is only averaging 9.7 points per game so far this season, he's been hurt. And like I said, his slice of the pie has been cut into by the presence of Brandon Ingram. That's just pure and simply it right there. So if any Raptors fans are trying to judge stats from last year to this year, these are totally different years because Brandon Ingram is playing for the Raptors. So don't do a fatal mistake or a dumb mistake like Zach Cram of ESPN, who's supposed to be a professional writer, but he can't figure these things out himself, apparently. He also said here that Colin Murray-Boyles has started the past couple games in Poeltl's stead, but the 6'7" rookie is an inexperienced, undersized option for a contender. Yeah, I agree with that. He's no long-term solution at center. And honestly, I'm surprised how well he's done these last couple games. But I think part of it is our matchup, and the Hawks was more suited for this. But we play certain teams coming up. Colin's not going to be able to start at center for us. So yeah, it worked in this matchup, but there's matchups coming up where I'd much rather start Sandro if Jakob is not available. Last, Jakob Pertl, getting in the latest lineup news, is getting a lot of good news, and this may be part of the reason why the Raptors, as we broke the news on this channel while we were watching it, waived Mo Bamba yesterday. We talked about this at length yesterday already. We knew that Mo Bamba has been waived, and we know that it's a sign that Jakob is healthy. That's part of it. The reason why the abrupt, other than the guaranteeing of his contract in the next couple of days, the abrupt waiving of Mo Bamba is a sign that Jakob Pertl is doing very well with his health, and he's going to return soon. In fact, he's been cleared for full contact in practice, and he is practicing. And it is projected that he will return for Friday's game against the Celtics, guys. So we're going to be full strength very soon, knock on wood, hopefully. And we will be running through a very difficult month of our schedule with tough home games and then a very crazy road trip coming up with very top Western teams that we're going to have to face on their home court very soon. So going out west, it'll be nice to have RJ back since he's been back for a bit, and Jakob also. So that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, Yak is out today. He will not play tonight against the Hornets, which is in some ways a sore spot because it was weird. They would use Jakob against the Hornets in games, and then they bench him against the tougher game in last fall, which is weird to me. And I thought that was partly because of Kalkbrenner and his size and the way he plays as a center as a rookie for the Hornets. But yeah, it was weird. And we end up losing those games, which is weird. Chuggy Hepburn is also on the injury list still. He's still out. He did not play last night for the Raptors 905. And a lot of people are trying to speculate, when is Chucky going to be ready and back for the 905 and or the Raptors? We'll have to see. Chucky has been out for quite a bit here, and it has made the 905 suffer to a degree, but not enough to lose a bunch because of it. They just lost once, and that could be attributed to Chucky's absence, the loss of the 905 to the San Diego Clippers last week in the first game of the new year. But, we'll see Chucky get back. But they took care of business against Noblesville last night. That's for sure. Yeah, so that's the lineup check for the Raptors. Just Jakob out and Chucky is out. Nobody else is listed. No one else listed. Let's see what ESPN the ESPN matchup predictor is saying for today's game. This could be very curious. They think that it is a 55% chance that the Raptors will beat the Hornets today. So the Hornets are at home, and they get a 45% chance to win. We have 55% chance. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. The Hornets on the other side with their injuries for today is quite extensive, actually. Mason Plumlee, since we last saw them, got hurt. And he has a groin injury, and he's out for like 6 weeks or something like that. He's going to be out for the whole month of January and half of February. So he should be back after All-Star break. Not that he's a super crucial player for the Hornets. Ryan Kalkbrenner, who I just mentioned, is out of the game tonight. He has an elbow injury, and he will not be available to the Hornets as the starting center, the rookie. Ryan Kalkbrenner, so he's out for sure. Grant Williams, another game against the Raptors, and he will miss this one too. So all 4 games this season, the veteran Grant Williams has not shown up to play against the Raptors. He has a knee injury right now, so he's ruled out for tonight. Musa Diabate, the power forward who's been a problem for the Raptors in some of the games this season with the Hornets, he is probable for tonight's game. He has a right wrist sprain, so we'll have to see if Musa plays. He's probable to play, so he probably will. Brandon Miller is also probable to play tonight. He has a left knee contusion. So those 2 guys are very good players for the Hornets, and in some ways, hey, if you don't want to play, you don't have to. But these guys will probably play, so we'll have to deal with them. And then Tijani Saloon is questionable for today's game due to his ankle, the young athletic Frenchman. So who are the Hornets at this point? Since we haven't seen them in about a month or a month and a half since we lost to them last time. Well, LaMelo Ball is healthy, and he is still starting at point guard for the Hornets for now. Con Knipple at shooting guard, the rookie, probably the rookie of the year, honestly, guys. So far this year, Con Knipple is probably rookie of the year. Miles Bridges, the criminal. Anyway, Miles Bridges, the problematic player. Of course, he's been playing at a very high level for the Hornets this year, and he's been a real problem for the Raptors in our matchup. We need to very much guard him better, and who knows, maybe Colin and Scotty can take care of Miles Bridges tonight. That's what I'm hoping. Colin Sexton off the bench, Josh Green, Zion James, another rookie who's playing a lot right now, Trey Mann, Liam McNeely, PJ Hall, KJ Simpson, and Pat Connaughton. That's kind of their lineup. They don't have a deep bench with a lot of guys missing. So that should be a strength for the Raptors, is that we have a deeper, more talented team, and we need to wear them out, and we need to sub often and keep guys fresh and just outwork them and outplay them and beat them. That's really the best stuff you can do against a team like this, because the Hornets, since we last saw them and they beat us, their record is 6-7. So they've lost more games than they've won since they beat us in the beginning of December. So yeah, they're 6-7 since then. So yeah, they haven't been winning completely. They're close to a 500 team, but they're just one game under 500 since we played them. So yeah, that's the latest lineup news. Yeah, no Kalkbrenner. That's huge. That's huge. But no Jakob. So in some ways, it'll be a little bit more of a small ball game today. With Diabate, if he is healthy, he'd probably be running around in the center somewhere out there for them. With no Plumlee also. So that's a big deal. Let's go look at the referees now, guys. In the replay center for tonight, J.D. Rawls, John Conley, Matt Myers, Pat O'Connell, and Scott Foster. But our refs on the site in Charlotte, Brett Bernecki is getting a rare crew chief assignment. The lawyer, Brett Bernecki, he has been in the league for 16 seasons out of Hamilton, Ohio. He's number 36. And his favorite TV show is NBA Hardwood Classic. His favorite movie is For the Love of the Game. He listens to Chris Botti. Ego is the Enemy is his favorite book. He likes to eat chicken parmesan. His favorite app is FaceTime. And he'd most like to visit Italy. And he'd also like to scuba dive at the Great Barrier Reef. Yeah, Brent Bernecki. This will be the third time Brent has refereed the Raptors this year. And we won both the games that he's refed so far this year. Brett Bernecki considers his most memorable NBA assignment to be a game between the Lakers and the Timberwolves on December 14th, 2014, when the Lakers' Kobe Bryant passed Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list. So there you go. It seems like Brett Bernecki is a Lakers fan, is what that is telling me. As I said, we won both the games with Brett this year already that we've had him ref. And he's not got a good record with us. So we're at 45% winning. He's in the zone right next to Scott Foster and Ed Malloy. So 45% winning, which is below the Raptors' 47% winning career average for the franchise overall. But the Hornets have a worse record with him at 38% winning. So 45-38 for the Raptors with the crew chief lawyer, Brent Bernecki. Yeah, he is the crew chief today. Second ref is going to be Scott Twardowski. And we've seen Scott quite a bit already this year. This is his fourth game that he'll referee for the Raptors this year. Scott is number 52 out of Washington State, 15th season reffing. His favorite TV show is Shrinking. His favorite book is Core 52. He likes to eat steak and mushrooms. His favorite app is Telestrations. He'd most like to visit Norway and photograph the Northern Lights. And his hidden talent is landscape and astrophotography. So this guy's got a telescope, and he likes to take pictures of stars and planets, is what they're telling us right here. Twardowski previously worked as an English teacher for 5 years in Covington, Washington, and as a speaker for 5 years at Learning for Living in Meadow Vista, California. Yeah, Scott is, well, we've had a mixed results with him. We did win the first 2 games that he ref for us this year, but we lost the last one. So we lost the last one. I think he ref the last one of the Charlotte games that we lost. I think he did. So he'll be reffing us for a Charlotte game again, which is interesting. So we're 2-1 this season with Scott. Our record overall in the history of him is 49% winning, which isn't all that, honestly. But the Hornets are 41%. So 49-41 for the Raptors in the split with a referee Twardowski. The last ref is a ref we've seen recently, Jenna Schroeder, number 20 in her 7th season out of Flint, Michigan. Her favorite TV show is 30 Rock with Tina Fey. She likes Dirty Dancing with Jennifer Grey. She likes Bob Seger, that old-time rock and roll. She most like to visit Australia. Her bucket list is to see Billy Joel, Eric Clapton, and Rolling Stones in concert all at once, right, Jenna? All at once? All at once? Is that it right there? Let's see on our list. Okay, this will be the second time we see her this year. Other assignments for Jenna have included the NBA Paris Games in 2025, the Rising Stars competition, and All-Star Saturday night events at NBA All-Star 2024 in Indianapolis. So, yeah, Jenna Schroeder's worst percentage ref for the Raptors today. We did win the first game she refed us this year, which is fantastic. We win 40% of our games. She is down in one of the worst zones in the ref report spreadsheet. She is down there way below some of the really bad refs, down there with Murat Kugat. And well, with the Hornets, they win for 39% of their games. So 40-39, a very slim margin between the Raptors and the Hornets with third ref Jenna Schroeder. So yeah, the refs, all three, favor the Raptors statistically in the history of the NBA, but that's because the Hornets have not won a lot of games over their franchise history in recent decades when most of these refs have refereed. But yeah, I mean, they seem like all right. You know, Brent Bernecki is not one of the more prominent crew chiefs. He's done crew chiefing kind of just as a standby. Him and Twardowski are kind of equal with their time spent as refs. So we'll just have to see how they are. Scott Twardowski can be a little bit of a jerk. We'll just have to see. And we'll be watching vigilantly to make sure these guys are calling the game on the up and up, Jenna and the boys. So, yeah, none of them really are great refs for the Raptors. Let's just put it that way. Scott is kind of okay, but the other two are not usually winning refs for the Raptors. But it's the Hornets, and we have a good chance to beat them either way. So, yeah, there's your ref report for setting you up for tonight. Let's get into the comments and see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Trevor J saying, be prepared if the support you need doesn't come from those you know. Sometimes it's the strangers that God sends your way to lift you to greater heights. That's awesome. I like that. You know, there are guardian angels and people out there that you don't know about that may be looking out for you in ways that you didn't even realize. And those people are special. Those people are amazing. Those people are heroes. Those people are, I've talked about this briefly before on the show. There's paranoia, which is everybody's out to get me. And then there's pronoia. And pronoia is a concept brought up by a modern day philosopher named Rob Breggy. And Rob has a whole book called Pronoia. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Paranoia is thinking everybody's out to get you and the world is against you. Pronoia is the opposite. It is everybody's out in the world to help me and the world is for me. And that perception change, if you're able to get into pronoia instead of paranoia, is a life-changing thing because it can change your perception to a way that you're more receptive and open to the good stuff coming to you. Because sometimes we get in this idea with painting the whole world as it being out to get you. You will see that and it'll happen. But if you can switch your mind to a pronoia mindset, you could actually see the benefits and the helpers and the friends and the love and the good things in your life, and they'll become more abundant and more in your face than the other stuff. So it's a weird concept, and it's in some ways it may seem like it's silly, but you may be surprised We have so much that goes on in our heads that shapes our feelings, our health, and how we feel. And you can give yourself a leg up if you practice pronoia, is what I'm saying. So I like this, Trevor. I really like this because in some ways, look, there's a no unknown in the future. The future is not settled. The future is still going to come down, and we're going to have to see how it all lays out. And in those situations, when things are happening fast, you really, really do want to find guardian angels and people that will come to help you out of the blue that are strangers. And you need to be that person for other people too. This is not all just take, this is give also. And in situations, you may find yourself as the hero that helps out a complete stranger. And that is the right thing to do. So thank you for your words of wisdom, Trevor J. These are very good, appropriate words of wisdom for the age we live in right now. Thank you, Trevor. I appreciate that. Happy game day. Let's beat the Hornets. We own them one. We owe them one. Yeah, we do. We do. A lot of people would say you play the Hornets, you're supposed to sweep them for the season like you did Cleveland and Atlanta. But the Hornets are evolving. The Hornets have a nice young coach in Charles Lee, and they're getting better talent from their draft. And, LaMelo Ball has been a dead end this whole time, a waste of time, honestly, because you want to build your team around a circus performer. You go ahead and go be circus. So it's like you get some real basketball players, guys that actually play the correct way and actually are guys that are good to build around, like Brandon Miller and Con Knipple. All of a sudden, yeah, it's kind of like a Jalen Johnson, Trey Young situation on the team because it's like that. No more of these trick shot artists. No more of these offensive juggernauts that are empty on the defensive end. No more of these guys who are spinning their wheels in the league, not progressing and getting better and just kind of sitting on their laurels and happy to collect a check and live the NBA life, but are not developing themselves any further because that is LaMelo Ball right there. Seriously, this guy is not improving. He's been in the league how many years now? And he's honestly really just spinning his wheels as far as improving as a player. So that's a big part of it right there. That's a big, big part of it. We owe them one. You're dang right, Trevor. And that's why we need to even the series tonight on their home court. That's right. That's right. Trevor J saying this. Finally, the NBA voting recognized Scotty for All-Star vote. Yeah, in some ways, once again, I'm on the record for not caring about this at all. I'll tell y'all every day, go vote, go vote. But does it matter? No, it doesn't matter, y'all. I say it matters when you vote politically, but not in the NBA All-Star game. It's in some ways, it's one of the dumbest systems. It used to be kind of cool before you could do it on the computer. Like back in the day, this is how old I am. You'd get a little ballot at the game, and you'd have to do it at the game because they collect them at the game. There's no online to do the All-Star voting, and you punched out little holes on the ballot, and they had all the names on there. And in some ways, you put it in a little box in the arena, and they counted it all up. Then, the voters are stupid. Like they don't vote for the right reasons. There's often over the years, the fan voting has brought people to the starting lineup that absolutely did not deserve it because they were hurt or they were just a fan favorite and they had a bad year. So it's like it's stupid. And the Raptors are at a detriment because we do not get promoted on the United States side of media in the way that we should get votes from all around the NBA. So we do really have to rely on the country of Canada. And if the Canadians are not engaged in the NBA or the Toronto Raptors in a heavy way, like a championship run or playoffs or Vince Carter, they don't come out and vote. They don't come out and vote. And, that's what Darko's been upset about. That's why different people have been saying, Canada, vote. We need your help with Scotty. But once again, I'm going to say this. Scotty is not going to get voted into the starting lineup in the Eastern Conference. So it's like it's futile. It's futile. And even if he caught up or did it, he's not going to. He's not going to because there's 5 other guys in the East that are more popular on more teams that are more advertised and put on blast in the spotlight than Scotty Barnes and the Toronto Raptors. It's just a fact. And that's part of the detriment that won't allow this. But in some ways, I don't care because I know the coaches are going to put him on the team no matter what. And that's all that matters in some ways. So it's like, you guys, we can go ahead and say vote every day. And you guys should just do it. Just do it. But I'm not voting every day. If I forget to vote, I don't get mad at myself. Oh, no, Lex, you didn't vote on a 3 times day. Yeah, because in some ways I see the whole big picture of it. And in some ways it's dumb. You guys do it, and we should do it. And I'm not saying you're dumb for doing it. It's just that you guys reminding people, that's great. Actually, I appreciate y'all doing it. But also, I got to be real about this. This is not going to get these guys on the all-star team. The coaches will. The coaches will get them on the team. And, the case for both of them to make the all-star is growing. If the Raptors stay up in the top 4 and maybe even get in the top 3 in the Eastern Conference, top of the standings, we have more of a case to get 2 all-stars on the team. But it'll be tough because the politics of the NBA are not going to want to give us 2 all-stars, and they're more likely to want to snub Brandon Ingram this year and let Scottie just be the sole Raptors all-star. And Raptors Nation just needs to be ready for that because in some ways that is how it is. There's limited spots for this stuff. And, they may be like, yeah, the Raptors got their representative. The other thing is Brandon just came back from an injury, and he has to – I always say this, whether it's MVP, whether it's a defensive team, all defensive player, you have to kind of have a couple years work to build up to get the accolades. SGA, how many years did he have to be MVP level before he actually won MVP? So this year may not be ready for Brandon to go to the All-Star game, guys. He may need to show health and playing consistently at a high level for this year and next year, and then he'll be on the All-Star team for the Raptors next year. I think that's probably likely, guys. Just from me being an objective prognosticator and study, it's not that I want that. It's not that I don't think Brandon doesn't deserve to be an all-star this year. It's just the way the NBA works, if you understand what I'm saying. So if I'm wrong and both of them are on the team, I'll be overjoyed. Trust me. I'll be overjoyed, and I absolutely do believe Brandon deserves to be on the all-star team. It's just the politics of the NBA. That's all. That's what I'm saying there. Superfan Mo has returned to the chat in live on the morning. That's good to see Mo here. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Happy game day. Winnable games. Take advantage. We need to beat the Hornets. Season is busy. I'm busy. Miss you all. Yeah, I figured that. I mean, she went to both the Atlanta games, and apparently she's just wheeling and dealing with the brass of MLSE. On Saturday, it was Bobby Webster, who Monique was hanging out with and talking to and leaving the game with. And then last game, it was Keith Pelly. Yeah, she's telling us about this in the 905 chat last night, that she saw Keith Pelly on Monday night with the Hornets, the Hawks game. And I was like, man, did you ask him? Oh, please, did you ask him? She didn't. I wish she had, though. I wish she'd asked him, why did you fire Masai? I wish she had done that. I wish she had just straight up said, why did you fire Masai? And put him on the spot right then. And I want to know what he would have said. Seriously, you'll probably run into him again. If you do, please ask him that. Seriously, I wish you had Monday night, because that would make him – I want to hear what he would say, like what he scrambled to say, what his reasoning would be. I just wanted to ruin your weekend, Monique. Something stupid like that. Or maybe he says, yeah, Ed wanted to save money, so he had to fire Masai. I'm sorry, Monique. I don't know, whatever Keith Pelly would have said to her. That would have been hilarious. You get accountability from the super fan, president of MLSE, Keith Pelly. You get credit. You're getting checked here. There's checks and balances in some areas of the world still, maybe not in the U.S. government, but there is checks and balances in some ways where the fans get to talk to the executives of the teams and ask them why the hell they did something boneheaded. And I'd be like, why did you fire Masai Ujiri, Keith Pelly? And just what would he say? Ooh, man, if I got that opportunity, I'd ask him. I'd ask him myself, and I don't even know him, and I'm a nobody. I would say, Keith, why'd you fire Masai? And he'd just smile. He probably wouldn't answer me because he don't know me, but he knows Monique. He'd probably be on the spot. If Monique asked him that, he'd have to probably answer her. He'd probably ignore me if I asked him. So that's why I'm like dying for you to do it, Mo. I wish you would. I wish you would so bad, but she's being nice. She said that he made some dumb joke saying, I wish we could play the Atlanta Hawks every game this season. Gross. Gross, man. Very, very gross. Let's see. Superfan saying great 905 win. Yeah, I was really happy about that. That was awesome. That was really, really awesome. They do what they've been doing. The Raptors and the 905 play with their food to an extent, but they get professional. and lock down by the end of the game to carry the game to victory by the end of the game. And that's a lot of what it is. I mean, sure, the margins look, they got beat in the beginning of the game. They lost the first quarter, but then they kind of start coming back and they start taking the lead by halftime. And then in the second half, they separate more and more as the second half goes on. And the Noblesville boom. And Kareem asked me this in the chat last night. He's like, "Why do teams keep jumping out on us and getting leads on the 905 at the beginning of the game? Like, why do we start so bad?" And I was like, "Well, maybe these teams see our record and they're like, we want to beat an undefeated team or a team that's almost undefeated really bad, and they're coming out with a very concerted, pointed effort because they know we're the top dog." That's what happens when you win a championship. That's what happens when you're the best record in the league. Everybody's gunning for you. So quite often, this phenomena where the Raptors 905 may get down at the beginning of the game is partly because these teams really want to beat a team with such a good record. So that's part of it right there. It's not even anything the Raptors or Raptors 905 do. It's the other team. And we need to give more credit to the other team. Outplaying us at the beginning of the game is the reason, and not necessarily us being shitty. Does that make sense? Because so often, like if the Raptors don't have any success or they don't have success against the team, they're blaming the team for not being good, when it's just we need to give credit to the other team for being really good and outperforming us. And it's not necessarily the problem with the Raptors. It's just that the other team went above and beyond for a little while. But critics and people that want to look at the Raptors and pick them apart will take every little bit of unsuccessfulness around the Raptors and just key on it and make up all this bullshit about this and this and this. Oh, the Raptors are this, they this, just because this is happening. It's we need to give more credit to other teams and say, yeah, well, this team's actually played really good in this stretch at the beginning of the game against us, Noblesville, boom. And stop saying what's wrong with us. It's not anything wrong with us. The other team's playing really good. That's what it is. It's a game of runs. It's going to happen that way. Superfan Mo saying Murray-Boyles on another level, my rookie of the year. Well, he could be your rookie of the year. The likeliness of him being rookie of the year is very nil, which is too bad. I mean, I get it. He's wowing us. He's showing a whole bunch of promise for the future and new skills and all kinds of stuff like that. But once again, the politics of the NBA, he's not likely to get rookie of the year for us, unfortunately. Even if he could, he might be a top 5 contender, though. I could see him being in the top 5 contender, but him becoming the rookie of the year, that means he's probably got to start the rest of the year. And I don't see that. I don't see that happening. Collins only starting right now because of injury. And, the rookie of the year is usually a starter for most of the year. So, man, as much as he's awesome and he's powerful and we're really seeing great stuff from him all of a sudden, let's be realistic. And I like that he's your rookie of the year. But, man, I don't think he's going to win it. I don't think he can probably because he's already not started most of the season. And they're going to look at every guy that started and has starter minutes and numbers like Con Knipple, and those guys are going to get the favor. VJ Edgecombe's another guy that's probably higher on the rookie ladder for getting success. Dylan Harper, those kind of guys. Those three are probably the top 3 rookies right now. Maybe Derek Queen a little bit. But I mean, I love that. I'm with you. In some ways, he's definitely our best rookie. And in some ways, he's somebody that I can't wait to see get better and better for the Raptors over the years. Yeah. James is saying the best defender in his class, Murray-Boyles. Yeah, there was some debate about this last summer in Summer League. Is Murray-Boyles or Cooper Flagg the best defender in that draft class? Of course, we know Cooper Flagg and everything about him was overhyped and over sensationalized for various reasons. And, in some ways, who he is not exactly all of the blown up rhetoric from last year, leading into the draft and marketing him and making him such a huge name like that. In some ways, they build him up for selling sneakers and apparel and NBA tickets. And in some ways, the realness about who he is, well, we're seeing more lauding and amazingness from Con Knipple than his Duke teammate Cooper Flagg. I don't know. I would argue you're right that Colin Murray-Boyles is probably the best defender in his class from last year. I would argue that you're right. I'd make a substantive argument with evidence to support your comment, James. I would. Yes, Superfan Mo saying Elijah Martin's a winner. He will be in the NBA. Will be NBA ready in no time. Yeah, I hope that's true, but there's no guarantee still. And don't get mad at me if I still don't believe that's true. Because listen, all right, and they talked about this a lot last night in the game. Warren Ward, Ben Schulman, that Elijah Martin is a winner. It's proven. It's Florida Atlantic. He took a small university in Central Florida to the Final Four, a team that's not even supposed to be in the tournament because Florida Atlantic is not a big school. And that is a huge accomplishment in itself. And then he went 1 year to Florida and he won the championship there. And now he's on a G League team that's lost 2 games and won 21 games. They're 21-2 right now, which is insane. That's amazing, you know, and I keep the whole record because it's really impressive. 21 wins, 2 losses. That's a winner. So Elijah does have a very winning aura, an effect on things. I agree. He's good for hitting open threes. He's good for strong drives to the basket and making them in very circus shot ways. He's pretty good for defense. He's pretty good for finding teammates and setting people up. And he's not a bad rebounder for a guard also. But yeah, there's no guarantees. And once again, that's the NBA. And what have we seen? That's the G League. And what have we seen in the NBA? He still hasn't scored his first point, and he's had 3 appearances in NBA games so far. So in some ways, that's worrisome that he has not made a basket and he's already played 3 NBA games. So these things have to line up in reality. We can think this and we can want this, and he can want it all he wants to, but it doesn't mean it's going to be reality. And it still has a lot to be worked out. But I'm telling you right now, his case for what you're saying is getting better and better. And it's starting to win me over, but I still don't know, Monique. I still don't know. There's never guarantees for second round picks, and there's never guarantees of real NBA careers for guys that get picked around when he is. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. He needs to get his proper chance with the Raptors club because we haven't really given him the right chance as a two-way. Neither one of those guys, Chucky Hepburn or even AJ this year either. These guys need to get good run there, but it's also a symptom that we're winning team and we're top level team in the East, and we don't need to rely on our two ways too heavy this year like we did in years past. So I don't know. I hope he gets this chance, and I know he probably will at some point this season. But he has to do more in NBA games for me to really start giving him a case like you're giving him. And I love that you're a huge fan of his and you believe in him just with no doubt. But man, he has to, in some ways, he's got the toughest route. Chucky's probably got a tougher route at this point. But I think that Elijah has such a tough route to make the NBA. I'm telling you right now, this is not easy at all. This is not easy at all. And I hope he does make it. I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just trying to be realistic. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph. Game day blessings, beloved Raptors freak family. Be deliberate and intentional about living life purposefully. Doing so ensures your existence on this earth is not just to waste resources. Wow. Wow. I mean, I like people being more energy conscious and trying to conserve energy. Maybe, you know, there's all kinds of different ways we could do this. The biggest problems in the world are fashion and construction because they use so much materials and they are so wasted. Like having season fashions where we throw clothes out every like 4 times a year is ridiculous. You know, that's one of the worst industries, fashion, and just buying clothes and throwing clothes out and the clothes just going to landfills or they go weird places around the world. You know, and then construction's really bad for the world too, because you're destroying particles when you destroy a building and then build a new building. They're 2 of the most worst. You know, everybody who says people are just using resources on an individual level, screw that. The people that are doing the worst are the corporations on the huge level. And also, they don't talk enough about how billionaires use more of our resources than any singular people than average everyday people. They're going to say, "Oh, turn off the lights in your house when you leave the room. Oh, do this to save energy." Meanwhile, these motherfuckers are out on jets, burning up all this energy and causing all this pollution and having an even bigger impact on the degradation of our environment than anybody else. So it's like we can do our part, and we should in little ways. But the really bad, incriminating people that are doing the worst shit to our environment are the people I just named, the corporations, the government, and also the billionaires, because they're just doing more than their share of polluting and destroying our world. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, I would say this: what is deliberate and what is intentional, and what is frivolous and what is important. You know, some people, like I said, in some ways, I feel like it's up to each individual and understanding their design and who they're supposed to be, and going towards what is satisfactory and engaging and passionate for them inside, what lights a fire in them. And then some of it may be very frivolous to other people and say, well, that's stupid. Why are you doing that? Well, it's because this is what I'm doing and this is my project and this is what I feel like is worthwhile for a contribution to the world right now. So yeah, it's tough. Some people say what you're doing with your time may not be the right thing to do, and you're wasting your life and resources, but they may not totally understand it, and it may not be for them anyway. So blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families out there. Thank you, Randolph. I appreciate you as a guiding light. I do. That's right. Superfan Mo saying a healthy yak is so important. Yeah. Yeah. Yak's back, gets back, and we'll be all right with the attack. And I mean, I'm just saying, like, man, I hate when we have success when people are absent and all of a sudden people think they're expendable. No, we want to have the most talented, best team we can have. And having our starting center healthy and available and playing for us is the ideal mode for the Toronto Raptors. And Jakob Pertl is not washed. Jakob Pertl is not broken. Jakob Pertl is not all these weird things that some toxic people in Raptors Nation have been saying. He is going to come back, and he's going to be a huge piece and a huge important player for our team in success, and hopefully going towards the second Larry O'Brien that we get. So that's the way I look at it right there. That's right. That's right. Cream's here. Good to see Cream Thomas. And Seymour's here too. You guys are retracting messages. Seymour saying, who else is hooping and listening to Raptors Freak? My boss just put up a basketball net in the warehouse. So I'm shooting and listening. That's awesome. Remember, keep using your knees. Bring the energy up from the bottom of your feet, Seymour. The power for your shot comes up your legs, all right, up through your knees, through the shot, and bring that energy all the way up and then out through your arms and follow through. And keep your finger pointing at where you want the ball to go, which is the hoop. Just a little shooting clinic for my man, the sheriff over there. So this is the best way you can make your shots, is bring that energy up. And that'll give you distance too. I don't know how big the warehouse is and how far you can go out from three. But if you want to get a little bit more oomph on your shot, make sure you're using your legs. That's what I would say right there. There you go, Seymour. A little bit of coaching advice from the Raptor Streak, since he's hooping it up while he's listening to me, man. That's cool. Kesper is saying, oh, great. 5 versus 8 incoming. Lots of LaMelo foul baiting and refs handing every 3-point foul play to Knipple. We'll just have to see how it is. We'll just have to see how it is. And, there has been 8 versus 5 this year for the Raptors for sure. There's been games where the refs have been absolutely awful. And the Charlotte game was one of them with Mark Davis. Mark Davis absolutely extended that game into overtime and allowed us to lose the Hornets in that game. Absolutely. So we've had success against 8 versus 5, but we've also not had success against it. Well, we're a pretty strong position with RJ back. Let's see if we can handle an 8 versus 5 and still come out victorious. Because I have faith in them, even if the refs are shady with their calls. Because you're right, Kespera. In the games earlier this season, the refs were handing so many free throws to Con Knipple. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And watch out and see LaMelo Ball get benched in the fourth quarter because he does not help them win. And he's not out there in crunch time. Watch. That'll happen again, probably. That probably will. Real Goated Jidman is here. NBA All-Star voting is. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's fun for kids. I think it's really something for children, honestly. That's the way I've already looked at the All-Star voting, is like, this is fun for kids to vote for their favorite stars to be on the All-Star. As adults, we could do it for fun if you want to do it too, just to show support. But in some ways, I've always thought of All-Star voting as a kids thing, for the kids. That's what I've always thought of it in some ways. I mean, I want to help the Raptors get into All-Star games. Don't get me wrong. But also at the same time, I don't live and die with whether that happens or not. That's right. That's right. Thanks for the sub, Real Goated. Yeah. G saying this Flight reacts, whom I only watch if it's Raptors versus Golden State, is a huge Curry fan and he votes and pushes for Scotty. He has a huge following. Yeah. Well, Flight knows Scott, because of Scott's time on Twitch. He was reacting to Flight on his Twitch channel that summer in 2022. We watched Scotty watch Flight all the time. Like he would be watching Flight's channel in his stream and laughing at Flight because he thought Flight was so goofy, so goofy. There was a weird day where I pissed Scotty off because he was watching a clip of Aiden Ross and Flight play one-on-one against each other, and they were horrible. I was like, why are we watching these jokers, Scott? These guys are going to make you play worse in the NBA watching these guys and their bad habits. He's like, man, these are my friends, is what he said to us. I was like, no, man, don't waste your time watching Aiden Ross and Flight play some half convoluted, weird ass edited one-on-one game. It's so stupid. And honestly, they were bad. They were really bad. It was like you were editing this and you didn't even cut out all this horrible shit that they were doing on the court. I was seriously worried that Scotty was becoming a worse basketball player because he is watching Aiden Ross versus Flight on his Twitch channel one day. Seriously, I was like, Scott, don't watch this, man. You're gonna become a worse player just from watching these guys. I said that to him. I think he got offended when I said that. So Flight, I mean, he knows that Scott's got love for him, and so he has love for him back. And that's really a big part of it right there. That's a big part of it right there. G saying, I feel they will put Ingram in just to get Glorilla there. We have to remember marketing and celebrities are important to the NBA now. That's a stretch. That's a stretch right there. They're going to get celebrities and people at the game no matter what. So that's a stretch, G. As much as I would like to give credence to what you just said, I don't think that this is likely. That they'll put Brandon Ingram in the All-Star game just because of his girlfriend? That doesn't sound right to me, man. That doesn't sound right to me. Chriscom saying this. Let's go. All right, great, Chriscom. Good to see you. We need that. Hang on, it jumped ahead. Let me make sure I get the right full comment. We need that 5-year win. What does that mean there in 7 games? We need to win 5 games. We need that 5th win in 7 games. Did you mean to hit a T and you put a Y in there? Okay, I think I understand. Still feeling away for losing to Charlotte, but as you said, they're getting better. We also owe my in Boston. What? Oh, New York and Boston soon. Yeah. Well, Boston on Friday. Yeah, and Boston, they leaped up in the power rankings, in the ESPN power rankings. They're like 4th all of a sudden, which is crazy. They jumped over the New York Knicks in the power rankings. So, yeah, we'll see Boston on Friday, but all things in their right order. Charlotte, let's stay on task with Charlotte, and we do owe them stuff, Chriscom, for sure. Smooth Brown Man's here. Good to see Reggie. She asked that question, and she would not meet him again. What's that? She asked that question and she would not meet him again, in my opinion. Why do you think that? No. Why would they do that? That would not happen. If Monique asked Keith Pelly, why did he fire Masai? He would be put on the spot and he would have to answer her. Seriously. He would be put on the spot. If he didn't, he'd be and then he'd scamper away in fear. Maybe that could happen too, I guess, because he doesn't want to face the question. No, it's not like Monique's going to get in any trouble. Listen, if they took Monique out, like if they did a Charles Oakley to Monique just because she asked Keith Pelly about firing Masai, that would be wrong. That would be just as bad as James Dolan banning Charles Oakley from Madison Square Garden. They're not going to ban Monique from the Scotiabank Arena. They're not going to tell Monique she cannot come to the games anymore. Trust me, they won't do that. If Keith Pelly did that, he would look so bad if he did that. Maybe he would avoid her and not want to talk to her anymore, but that may be a good thing because he's kind of a trollish, weird dude. I don't know. It's up to Mo. I would do it, though. If I was in her position, I would ask him that. I would have. But I'm crazy, and I do outlandish shit like that. I will do that. I'm not trying to mince no words around people. I will ask them stuff. If he banned Monique from the arena, which he would never, I don't even know if he has that power to do that or if he would want to do that, even for a question like that. Yeah, he may ignore her from then on or be like, yeah, I don't want to talk to her. She asks the tough answers. She's holding me accountable. maybe that, but I don't know, Reggie. I don't know, man. Nako's here. Good to see Nako. Bamba looked all right in that one game. Oh, well, once again, people are not listening. He's not gone. Gerald, we waived him. We're going to sign him today to a 10-day contract. So please pay attention. It's like, don't just be hearing half the news. We're going to probably sign him to a 10-day contract, and he'll be temporary still, and he'll still be around the team. But yeah, we got to hear all the news here, right? Cooper's been pretty good. It's probably him, maybe Khan. Yeah, I don't think it's Cooper Flag. They may do that just because they want to give him a career path as a golden boy, just like when they gave Ben Simmons the rookie of the year. Stupid kind of shit. I don't know. I think that Con can nipple because his team's moved up in the standings, and he's having more of an influence on the Hornets getting better than Cooper Flag with the Mavs. He's actually got a leg up, honestly. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it goes. Either way, I'm not on this like hype Cooper Flag train. Glaze him. I don't care if he's been doing highlights or doing this. The Mavericks suck, and everything that happens to Dallas, they deserve for being shitty last year, for trading Luka, for sure. Yeah, Bamba did not look all right. I don't know what you were seeing out there. He didn't do jack shit for the Raptors at any point while he was out on the court since he's gotten to our team. So I don't know where you're getting that. Seymour's saying this. My goal is to sink 100 15 footers, then 125 footers a day to 2026. Get back active, get back to it. That's awesome. I love that, man. I love that, man. I should do the same thing. I wish my boss would build a basketball court in our warehouse. I used to work in a warehouse. I've worked in a warehouse a couple times, actually. But when I worked at the one at CG, we could have done that. We could have done that. I had some power too. I was kind of assistant warehouse manager. Maybe I could have proposed that. Nah, they wouldn't have allowed that. They were jerks. It seems like Seymour works somewhere cool, like Dunder Mifflin. All right, let's see. Crisco's saying, great Keith impression. Screw that guy. Yeah. Oh, Crisco. Yeah, it's great running MLSE, man. I go to all these hockey games. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love my hockey. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Raptors, too. Yeah. Seymour's saying this. Precious not only blocked Flag, nasty, but pestered him, too. Okay? Achua, I see you. I like that. He postered him. Woo-wee, postered him. I like that. All right. This is the kind of news I want. That Precious Achua posterized Cooper Flag, and he blocked the shit out of him, too. Ooh, Seymour, you're getting your first dunk of the year. There you go. 3 points for Seymour for being the messenger on glorious news. I love that, man. You know I love Precious. Nago saying Khan, Derek, Cooper, Fears, VJ are probably the best rookies. CMB doesn't get the opportunity that these guys get, mind you. Yeah. I mean, I'm just being realistic about it. I like that she's her rookie of the year. And in some ways, he's definitely one of the top rookies. I definitely believe that. I'm just trying to be realistic about his chances. And it'll be tough. And mainly it's because he doesn't start. It's mainly because of that. I think out of those guys, if you're really asking me, it is Con Knipple, the guy who we're playing tonight, who has been the most solid and the most impactful rookie this year so far. And which is crazy because when I was doing the drafting, scout stuff, I was like, yeah, this guy's not that impressive to me, Knipple, but he's actually turned out to be way impressive. So I've been wrong about him. VJ Edgecombe, because he's on the Sixers, he may get a lot of favor also. But it may depend on how well the Sixers do or if they flame out by the end of the year. So we'll have to see, which I very fully expect that they're going to flame out by the end of the year for sure. Monique saying 6-1 of the regular season, Lex. Laugh out loud. Well, listen, whatever convoluted reason they split the G League season in half, I'm going to do the cumulative record for the whole year. So get used to me doing that, okay? And you can act like the tip-off tournament doesn't count, but it does. It does to me. And those games were put in the record because it looks good. Seriously, they need to get the credit for running the table in the tip-off tournament. They went 14-0, and that's impressive. That's super impressive. They went 14-0 in the first part of the season. They deserve those 14 wins. is what I'm saying. So, I mean, you can do the regular season record and just that, but I'm going to tout the whole body of work that Andrew Jones and the 905 guys have accomplished so far this year. Because in some ways, it's like, yeah, they reset it back and they're just 6-1 in the regular season right now. But what about those 14 wins where they didn't lose at all before that? That's what I'm saying. So technically, in my eyes, they're 20-1. If not, you want to add the championship game in 20-2. So that's the way I look at it. Actually, yeah, they're 20-2. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Fiercely saying this. Good morning, fam, and happy game day. We cannot let the Hornets beat us again. Let's focus and play together. It's not about whether we cannot or can or what. It's we got to just do it. We got to just do it. We can beat them. For sure we can beat them. We need to beat them. We need to do the things that work for our team to play at the highest level so we can beat them. Yes. Yes, I agree with that. Isaac's here. Dunk for Seymour for living the dream. Paid the ball out. Yeah, I can do that. That's right. He's filling it up here too. 6 on the dunk chart. He's got 2 quick ones all of a sudden, just like he probably has just in while I've been talking right now, draining them for 3. Seymour for 3. He could go all the way. Look at he's on fire. Swish, swish, swish. I'm trying to give him special effect sound noises around there. Maybe his coworkers are laughing. Look at Seymour go. 3, swish, swish, woo. I don't know. Maybe I sound like a video game or something like that for him right now. That's right. Never looked at it like that. Yeah, there you go. You're living the dream, my guy. That's what I'm saying, man. Everybody's dream is different. And it doesn't have to be what a huge thing or an expensive thing or something crazy. It could be the simple thing. It could be a simple thing and an awesome thing like having a hoop at your warehouse while you're at work. That's right. That's right. That's right. It's awesome. Let's see. Keeping on going in the chat. Nako's saying this. I need to have a strong calves for strong shooting. Yeah. Well, it's better for dunking even too. Yeah. If you have those crazy calves, then you can get up there and maybe get over above the rim. Yeah. 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 In some ways, it depends on the type of shooter you are. If you're a jump shooter, yeah, you need those calves. But some guys are tethered to the ground and they kind of just like shoot off the standing flat footed and they don't necessarily have good calves, but they're good shooters still too. So it's weird. It's weird. It depends on the person and their body and kind of the way their shooting style is. Whether you're going to be a set shooter, a grounded shooter, or a jump shooter. A jump shooter needs calves. But if you're somebody who's kind of just messing around in a warehouse while you're at work, you don't necessarily need the calves. You can just pop it up, unless you're working with somebody who's 7 foot tall. Then you're in trouble. Then you're in trouble. That's right. Then you're in trouble. Isaac's saying, I think if we produced a music video for Seymour, he would easily get a 10-day. You sound like a prep star's mother. You need to make a music video and I'll post it on my YouTube channel. That's what AJ Lawson's mom did. That's right. AJ Lawson told a story to Lindsey Dunn recently in an interview where he said that he made a video of his highlights from around Toronto and playing in high school and all that stuff. And he put it together and put it on his mom's YouTube channel. And he's like, he didn't want to put it out himself. He wanted it to seem like somebody else put it out as a scout. And that was part of how he was getting himself out there to be known was through his mother's YouTube channel. She had hardly any subscribers, but it was on YouTube and you could see it. So that's kind of a cool story, right? So yeah, we could figure this out and get Seymour a 10-day. That's what you want to do, Isaac? We got to make a music video of him shooting in the. All right, Isaac, I'll give you a dunk. All right, that's creative. That's creative. We can shoot a little highlight reel and maybe they'll come knocking. Yeah, 10-day. He has to get a 10-day with the G League first. He doesn't just go straight to the big league. No. That's not how it works, Isaac Campbell. It's hard to get to the NBA. So Seymour has to get invited to the Raptors 905 first before. That's right. That's right. HC's here. The undefeated rise and shine. Let's go. The undefeated is in the house. Let's see what's going on with the early returns this week in our Yahoo Fantasy League. I'm beating Mike, which is good. Amit is beating Bryce. Nins is beating Cool Cat. Fiercey is beating Omari. That's awesome. Jason Dukes is beating HC so far, and he's got a good lead on him. So HC's undefeated is in a little bit of trouble. Original Yahoo Fantasy champion Jason Dukes, he's won the first Yahoo League we ever did, is beating HC so far this week. So that's interesting. MK is beating Kareem. Kaz is losing to James. That's a good matchup right there. Kaz and James. And then Gerald is beating Andrew and the Toronto Shamshays so far in the first two nights of action this week. Yeah, good to see HC in the chat. That's right. Raptors Champs is in the house. Good morning, Raptors Freaks and Champs. I see another win tonight. That's God willing. We'll get that. Yeah. Yeah, Atlanta at home. Well, that's a winning combination for the Raptors. Charlotte on the road. Well, didn't we beat them on the road? Oh, no, wait. We beat them at home the first time we played them. We lost to them at their place on the second one. That's the Mark Davis game. They screwed us over because they had that weird court that looked like a pop bottle colors, and it wasn't the regular Charlotte Hornets colors. It was like a yellow and a blue, remember? And then they beat us here in Toronto in a game that was messed up that they shouldn't have beat us at. So we need to beat them on their court tonight. That's right. We got to even this up, Raptors Champs. You're exactly right. Seymour saying, need to get my cardio up big time, man. Yeah, you feeling it right now? I'll bet you don't even have two hoops there. You're playing a half court and you're feeling it already. Yeah, we're going to get you in shape for 2026 if you're taking that many shots. That's right. The endurance to take all those shots. You got to build to that, Seymour. That's right. You got to build to that. That's right. I predict a double-digit victory tonight. Let's go Raptors. I like that. I like that. Criscom's usually giving us a prediction, but Seymour's got his foresight going there. That's right. Smooth saying, not banned from the arena, Lex. You mean just like Keith Pelly will say, yeah, there's Monique. I don't want to talk to her because she's going to make me feel bad and guilty. Because she's going to ask the tough questions. It's like, why did you fire Masai? See, okay, yeah, that's enough. All right, fine. You don't have to answer me. You're gonna just be all like, okay, fine. See, we're saying this: if the Wizards get Trae Young, their backcourt improves a lot. Trey Johnson has range too. Reminds me of a Shed and IQ backcourt run and gun. It's a Trey times two trays. You're in the lunchroom, and the lady just gave you a sloppy Joe. Is this what we're doing here, Seymour? They get a Trae Young. We got a Trey Johnson. We got two trays. Yeah, now both of us can take our food to the table and sit down and talk at lunch. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's the way I look at it. Absurdist. And just like, who cares, man? You're saying Trae Young on the Wizards is something I need to do analyzation on? No, man. That's the Misfit Toys Island. That's where people go when they have nowhere else to go in the NBA. And I'm telling you right now, that's where Trae Young's probably going. That's a sign that nobody in the league wants you. When you go to the Wizards like that, that means you're not really like in the league completely. It just means, yeah, we need to keep you in the league. You're in a placeholder, but you're not necessarily totally bona fide in the league. Let's just put it that way. We're sending you to exile. That's where Jordan Poole went. And a lot of other people have gone to exile there. And well, if he goes to the Wizards, that's what that is, man. Just so y'all know. Infamous is here. Good to see Infamous. Salute, freaks. The current leader for Rookie of the Year, Flag, Khan, and VJ is flagged to lose. It's flags to lose. VJ is my pick. Crazy hops, great on both sides, and clutch down the stretch of games. Yeah, I haven't seen Edgecombe a whole lot this year because we played them early in the season, and I think we split with them so far this year. We lost one to them, and we won one. So we're 1-1 with them, and then they're going to come and see us here in Toronto for 2 games straight, 2 days in a row next week, and we'll be done with Philly after that. So it'd be great if we could beat the Sixers in both games in Toronto because then we won the season series against them. So, yeah, we still have a chance to win that one right there. Yeah, I want to see more Edgecombe. I don't want to see him necessarily go crazy or play really awesome. But, I feel like I barely saw him in the games we played against them so far, that he wasn't a huge factor in those games, which is weird because the guys were out. I don't think Joel was playing. It was just Maxey. Yeah. Fiercely saying, I will wear my Raptors slippers tonight. Let's go. That's right. I got my Raptors socks on, as always, for game day. My Raptors shirts, my Raptors hat, all that stuff that I wear every single game day. That's right. Seymour saying, if Darko don't win Coach of the Year, give it to Jokic. What? That don't make no sense. You want to give the Coach of the Year to Nikola Jokic? That don't make no sense. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Darko's in the running. If we finish really well and we're in the playoffs, Darko will be one of the top 3 candidates for Coach of the Year. I'm telling you right now, he will be. He will be. Because in some ways, it's like that's one of the benefits of them under ranking us and thinking so poorly of us is when we're actually good and we go above and beyond, they give us way more credit because they're like, oh, it's Toronto. How did he do that? They're supposed to be bottom feeders. They're supposed to be bad. How did Darko do that? Wow, he must be a coach of the year. Sam Mitchell, Dwayne Casey, Nick Nurse, Darko Rajakovic. Let's get 4 coaches of the year because this is very likely. I could see Darko winning coach of the year this year, guys. I could see it. Seriously, I could see it. If he doesn't this year, well, it's the same thing like I said earlier. He has to have another year of doing really, really good. Then maybe they'll be like, yeah, this is not a flash in the pan. The Raptors are back, and they're near the top of the Eastern Conference, and they're not going away. So, Darko, you're coach of the year. We could see this. We could see this, man. Superfan Most saying Stevie Roots is awesome, Lex. Scotiabank Arena to Toronto Crew gave me the All-Star card with their picture on it. I switched my game over to the 12th, not the 11th. Okay. As far as like the Philly games, that's the one you're going to go to. Awesome. Yeah, Steve, this is interesting. Steve told me that you saw him, that he was kind of walking through and you say, hey, Steve. He said that you recognized him and he was like very touched. He was like, wow, Superfan Mo knows who I am, is what he told me. Honestly, he was like, yeah, I was the game. I was leaving, Lex, and she said, hey, Steve. And I was like, whoa, hey. And I went over and talked to her. I was like, that's cool, man. I'm always happy when good friends of mine get to hang out together and be around each other. And Stevie really is one of my closest best friends for like over 25 years now. So yeah, that's cool that you guys ran into each other and saw each other at the game. I like that he went to the game because he hadn't been to any games this year yet. And I was glad he finally went to a game on Saturday. Usually him and I go to a game, but because I'm not living downtown anymore, it's not easy for us to line up our schedules in the right way to get to a game together. And well, I don't know if I haven't even seen Steve since I moved out here, really. And I've been out here for a year and a half. So it sucks. You saw Steve more than me, Mo. It's kind of cool. I mean, he's a city guy. It's not like we talked about him getting on the GO train and riding out here and hanging out here in the country with me just to check it out. But it hasn't happened yet. Let's just put it that way. It hasn't happened. I'm really happy y'all saw each other. Invis is saying Dallas should trade for Trae Young. Perfect fit. Dallas needs a point guard, and they got rim runners to run the pick and roll. I mean, I'm not trying to solve any issues for Dallas or Trae Young. We don't need to be a think tank to help them. Yeah, that sounds good. It does, infamous. But once again, I don't care. If Trae Young just falls out of the league and the Mavericks never win ever again, I'll be very happy. I'll be very, very happy right there. Fiercey's got Darko on blast. I love that. Infamous is saying the favorite for coach of the year, according to reports, is Boston's coach Joe. Because he doesn't have Jason Tatum and he has that team near the top. Fuck all that. I mean, whatever. I don't know where you get that information. I know for a fact that Darko's going to be a contender for this at the end of the year. And we'll see. Maybe Boston will have some mess up by the end of the year and they won't be so sitting pretty up there. Because honestly, I don't totally believe in them. I think that they've gone above and beyond and they're overachieving, but I don't really think that they're a true contender in the NBA this year. I think that they want them to be, and because they're performing, they're going above and beyond with what they've got, that they're getting like the golden boy treatment by the NBA. But I still think, like, because I was predicting they weren't even going to make the playoffs this year. I still think they're not going to be a top team in the East, and they'll end up in the play-in by the end of the year. Yeah, because honestly, their talent is not that deep. They rely a lot on young players, and those young players are going to be flaky at some point during the season. In fact, I could see the Celtics bench getting more and more tired as the season goes on. And if Jason Tatum's not back and they're relying too much on carrying by Jaylen Brown, the Celtics could lose a lot more for the rest of the year than they win. And then they not near the top of the Eastern Conference. So that whole idea of Joe being the coach of the year will go away when they middle out. Let's just put it that way, which I think they're going to still do, guys. And you can mark a pin on me saying that today on January the 7th, 2026, that I think the Celtics will have a bad stretch in the last half of the season, and they will be more like a play-in team than a regular playoff team by the end of the year. Trust me. Just listen to me and see if this shit happens. And then you'll remember, oh, wow, Lex did say that at the beginning of January. I'm just saying, this is what I see. This is what I see right here. Seymour saying punch in air right now. Fuck Boston. That's right. That's right. Seymour, you want another dunk? Is that rim low enough that you can get up there and throw it down? Or maybe they didn't want to do that because that you destroy it in one day or something like that. Oh, don't put the rim down to the 8 feet because all of a sudden Seymour's hanging on the rim and he's bent it. Oh no, no, no! Now you ruined it, man. We had this for what, a couple days? No, don't do that. Don't do that. It's exactly at 10 feet. Okay, good. It's not an adjustable one where you can bring it down lower and go crazy like you're in a dunk contest. That'd be awesome, man. Yeah, Superfan Mo saying, me too, Lex, in reference to Darko. I told you that before. Yeah, I feel good about it because Toronto is in a place in the standings where they're not supposed to be, and that will give him favor. There was a lot of buzz about Darko and possible Coach of the Year candidate earlier in the season, and I'm sure it's continued because we persevered and we've stayed in our spot. I would like to see us persevere and stay in our spot, and I'd love to see Boston tumble down the standings further and further. And that can happen, guys. Trust me, that can happen. That can happen. Let's see. Fiercey's barfing because of Boston. That's right. That's right. It's a breakaway rim. Okay, good. Good. We don't want anybody getting hurt. And also, protect it so you guys can continue to have it at work. It's a fun thing. If it was saying my mistake, it's the Pistons coach, and the second is the Spurs coach. Well, I could see Joe being up there. I mean, seriously, because this year is supposed to be something where they're down. JB Bickerstaff, yeah. Detroit, that job, it's the same thing as Darko. It's the same thing. The Pistons aren't supposed to be up there doing that. And JB Bickerstaff may get very strong consideration for Coach of the Year. And that's kind of interesting considering the way Cleveland kind of just shuffled him out and put Kenny Atkinson in, and he fell on his feet in Detroit, and now he's looking real good in Detroit. Biggerstaff, man, I was worried about him in his career getting tossed by Cleveland so suddenly like that. And I was like, whoa, maybe this guy's not going to be in the league very soon. But no, Detroit picked him up, and he's been doing fantastic with the Pistons. Yeah, he's a very strong candidate to win this. And the Spurs coach could win it too. Yeah, Mitch Johnson. But in some ways, his case is not as surprising because they got Victor and all these draft picks. And the Spurs were expected to make a leap into being a winning team at some point. In some ways, you can make a case that's like, yeah, you should have done this last year if you're such a coach of the year. Mitch Johnson. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Seymour saying Cavs have the highest payroll, yet they stink. Yeah, music to my ears. Yeah, I love that too. Yeah, I love that too. These are the ties that bind us in our friendship. All right, let's go over the 9:05 game from last night. My stars of the game. Number one star of the game last night is Monique's favorite, Elijah Martin. Of course, he's the star of the game. Elijah had a fantastic scoring game. He was the leading scorer for the Raptors 905 in the game last night. 31 minutes, 23 points on 9 of 15 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3, 2 of 4 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, 1 block, a +6 for University of Florida's Elijah Martin. Yeah, he was steady throughout the whole game and putting in his chips of scoring here and there right from the start all the way through all 4 quarters, and just being very steady go-to guy for the Raptors 905. In some cases, they're going to Elijah when they're kind of struggling, and he is finding success. In some ways, it's very RJ. What happens is Elijah strong arms to the basket lately more often. He's more confident with this. In the beginning, he was missing a lot of those drives to the basket when he'd take contact and he would just screw up, but he's learned how to finish in contact with physicality in the lane, and it's looking a little bit like a mini RJ, some of the stuff he does when he runs down the side of the lane and he muscles the ball in. It's pretty cool. My second star of the game is a Canadian product, and his name is Quincy Guerrier. That's right. Quincy got the chain last night from Coach Andrew Jones. 17 minutes off the bench for Big Q. 14 points on 6 of 12 shooting. 1 of 2 at the free throw line. 7 rebounds, 1 turnover, a +15. He was the highest plus-minus, along with Patrick McCaw at +15. And he just had a real spirit to him of compete and doing big man stuff. And he was in there fighting, man. The Noblesville Boom are taller than us in a lot of ways. And with Olivier Sarr kind of not being totally effective, Quincy Guerrier coming in off the bench and doing a lot of big man stuff is important. because we don't really have a lot of depth at big man. And Quincy's actually a forward, but he can play a little bit of small ball center. And it's crazy. At this point, the 905 employed Tyson Degenhart to play like power forward and slightly center at times also. So it's crazy. But Quincy, absolutely essential to the win yesterday against Noblesville. My third star of the game is Sar. Even though I just dissed him, he had a solid 8 points with 8 rebounds. And I like that. 4 assists, 0 turnovers. He shot 4 for 5. He missed the only 3 he took. So the only shot he missed was an outside 3. He made everything up close. 4 for 4, 29 minutes, +5. Yeah, I like I just like the solid big man work. An 8-8 game. That's kind of a good game for Olivier Sarr, just so y'all know. 8 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 0 turnovers. That's not bad for a big man like that. My fourth star of the game is AJ Hogarth. AJ had foul trouble yesterday, a lot of foul trouble. In fact, they were kind of being unfair to him. The refs were weird, man. Julian Scott, Ian McClaney, Brent Haskell. What the fuck, man? Y'all are really weird with when you're calling fouls and you weren't. You'd let them play, and there was all kinds of physicality, balls getting slapped and arms getting hacked and slapped and no whistles and just play through the physicality. But then you get all touchy with AJ Hogarth. And there was weird ones where the Noblesville Boom would lose the ball on their own and somehow was a foul on AJ Hogarth, even though they just lost the ball. There was one play that was just like that. I thought Andrew Jones should have challenged it, but he didn't. But AJ's been fantastic since Chucky's been out. That's bumped everybody up. And he's the backup point guard and taking the minutes that Chucky would be playing. 17 minutes for AJ, 9 points, 4 of 8 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3, missed his only free throw, 1 rebound, 5 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal, a +6. Yeah, AJ has been solid. And the one of the things I like about it is he's doing point guard stuff with getting 5 assists, 1 turnover, but he's also finding scoring for himself. And he's been very consistent with this since we've been like Chucky went out in the tip-off tournament, and this guy's been doing this for us. So salute to AJ Hogarth and what he's been doing. His opportunity has been coming to him, and he's taking it and taking full advantage of it. Because he would be at the end of the bench with Bediako if Chucky wasn't playing. If Chucky was playing. AJ Lawson is my other star of the game. AJ Lawson, the 2 AJs, very important. AJ had a tough game once again. He's not playing the best in the last 2 games. The last game was a really bad game for him. This game, he kind of got it back together, but he didn't play good for most of the game. AJ Lawson, 35 minutes, 19 points, 7 of 16 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3. Now, AJ's shot, when it's zeroed in, it looks amazing. But half the time when AJ's taking these crazy barnstormer corner threes with such a high arc, they seem like they're prayers. They're prayers. It's like he's making a prayer to make it. And in some ways, it's kind of like, can we tighten up and make this a more consistent shot mechanic and maybe not so dramatic, AJ Lawson? And maybe figure out a way to make the shots not looks like there's such a Hail Mary prayer shot. Like, I'm just throwing it, guys. And if it throws in, woo, that's great. But it's like, man, that's where I feel like your consistency comes from. You got to square up and get your shot more on 2 feet and level. And because when you're shooting off 1 foot and you're falling back and you're doing all kinds of crazy high arc stuff, AJ, it looks like a prayer, like you're Bon Jovi. You're living on a prayer. And some of those shots should be more tightened up and more consistent with mechanics. And you probably make more of them instead of being 1 for 7 from 3. 2 for 2 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, and a steal, a -1 for AJ Lawson, even though he was the second highest scorer for the team. We'll do some more honorable mention for Tyreek Key. 22 minutes in the game, 11 points, 4 of 10, 1 of 2 from 3, 1 free throw, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 2 steals, a +12 for Tyreek. Tyreek is a professional scorer. Tyreek is a professional shooter, and his role for the Raptors 905 is to make baskets off the bench and be a guy that gets them bench points. And he does a good job at that most of the time. David Roddy was starting last night, and he shot horrible, 3 for 13 on 9 points in 30 minutes, 1 for 6 from 3, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, and 1 steal, a +2. The Raptors 905 as a team shot really bad from three. They shot 23%, 6 of 26. Jarkel Joyner started, and he had a really bad game for the most part, too. 26 minutes for Jarkel. I will say this, he was working his butt off, and he was getting after it. In some ways, he was getting hacked and thrown around by the other team, and the referees were not respecting any of that. The dude was getting thrown to the ground, and there was no whistles. No whistles at all. 1 for 6 from the field for Jarkel, 0 for 2 from 3, 1 for 1 at the free throw line, 1 rebound, 5 assists, though, and 0 turnovers, a -2. At one point, Andrew Jones got so mad in this game, he slapped his hands together so loud and yelled at the ref, and the whole arena went quiet. And the announcers shut up too. And they were like, whoa. And more and more, it's like, I wanted to hear what Andrew Jones was saying to the refs because he was going off on them. And rightfully so. Their whistle was not consistent. It was not consistent in what was a foul, and it was not consistent at both ends of the court. And Andrew Jones was letting them hear it. Julian Reese came in for 10 minutes last night and got 6 points on 2 of 4 shooting, 1 of 2 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, no turnovers, a +4. He did have 1 foul. Julian's a project. He's coming up slowly but surely. And you know what? It's weird because they don't put a lot of responsibility and time on him sometimes, really to give him like good moments to just kind of be quality in smaller times instead of a quantity of time where his quality may go down, that kind of thing. Tyson Degenhart, 11 minutes, 2 points, 1 of 1 from the field, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, 1 block, a -2. And as I said, Degenhart was a 6'8" guy who's going and guarding the center for the other side, even though he's kind of a shooter role on our team. He can do that a little bit of muscling, a little bit of holding people. Hey, that's another added little extra bonus for a guy like Degenhart that you wouldn't even think if you saw him in summer league earlier last year. You wouldn't think that he's going to get in there and mix it up with centers on the other side. But he was doing that last night. It was crazy. Pat McCaw, Raptors champion and legend, 13 minutes, 2 points. His points were awesome. It was off of a dunk. And McCaw, man, he got free and he attacked the rim and he threw it down with authority. It was awesome, man. It was really, really cool to see Pat McCaw make a dunk. 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 0 turnover, 1 steal for Patrick, +15. He's having a winning effect. He just is that kind of guy. He's got 3 NBA titles, a G League title, and he's won a lot. And, well, we're going to win another G League title with him this year. Why not? A man's got rings like crazy. He's just like that. Let's just say that. There's your look at them. On the other side, should we give any points to anybody? I mean, that Samson Johnson guy at center was interesting. He was very powerful, 5 of 7 with 10 points. Kyle Guy was bugging Monique. You know, he didn't actually have that good a game, Monique. He only had 8 points in the end. Cody Martin, NBA veteran. Cody, the twin brother of Caleb Martin, playing in this game. And wow, he was having a tough game. He played 43 minutes of this game, which is crazy. Only 5 minutes out. He only scored 15 points on 6 of 19 shooting. And he was a -17. So yeah, good job by the Raptors 905 playing a less talented Indiana Pacers G League team and beating them. In the team stats, we beat them in a lot of them. We outshot them. They did make more threes than us. They doubled us on threes. We did way better at the free throw line. It's crazy. They shot 8 for 17 at the free throw line. They lost a ton of points there. They did out-rebound us by 5. Our assist-to-turnover ratio, 24-11, and theirs was 22-22. That tells you a lot right there. They had 13 blocks. They did have a height advantage, which was crazy. Points in the paint, 68 for the Raptors 905 and 36 for the other team. So they had a height advantage. They got 13 blocks on us, but we drove it inside over and over again and got 68 points in the paint regardless and won the game. So there's your recap of the Raptors 905 victory over Noblesville Boom, 6-1 in the regular season at this point. And depending on how you want to look at it, 20-2 overall in the whole entire scheme of things. So yeah, there's your recap of that real quick on that right there. Yeah, let's see. All right, let me see where you guys started off here. Infamous is saying Martin's game is very similar to Donovan Mitchell. He even walks like him. Laugh out loud. I would tell him to study Mitchell's game. Why? Donovan Mitchell's not one of these winning type players. Not me, man. No. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Damon Stoudemire. He has the same shoulders and arms like Damon Stoudemire did in the original Raptors team. In some of the ways he goes to the basket and drives is very like Damon Stoudemire. Even the way he dribbles sometimes is like Mighty Mouse. So I mean, I get it. In some ways, Donovan Mitchell is a pinnacle in this league, but honestly, he's another one of these players that goes nowhere and he's not going to win anything. And I would caution anyone that's trying to pattern their game after Donovan Mitchell not to do it. Don't do it. You have to be at a very high level to be Donovan Mitchell and do what he does. And if you're not naturally being like that, don't try and aim to be the kind of player he is. You need to be more of a player that's grounded in defense and doing the little things, because the big things you're not going to get the opportunities to do if you don't have that overwhelming talent that demands it as soon as you come in the league as like a top 5 draft pick. You have to be, if you're an undersized guard, you have to be all that in a bag of chips, show it in college, and they really have to believe it will translate. And if you get drafted in the top 6 picks in the draft, maybe you get the shot. That's what I'm saying. If you're a second round pick and this is the route you're going, man, you're not going to probably get a Donovan Mitchell career. Let's just put it that way. Let's see. Kareem saying hello. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kaz. My name is Kareem. Good morning to you, Kareem Thomas. Yes, good to see you. Seymour saying, why does Suggs play with a headband around his neck? Weird fashion statement. Dude's a weirdo. Jalen Suggs is wearing a headband around his neck. Maybe because he has a concussion. Maybe he got in a fender bender on the way to the arena and he's litigating. I don't know. That could be it too. Maybe he has a sore throat. I don't know. There could be all kinds of reasons there. Salute the Trucker Cast. That's right. Let's see. Infamous is saying sweatband keeps the sweat from getting in the eyes, especially when you have a very low haircut. Yeah, but he's wearing the headband around his neck like it's a muffler or a scarf. Yeah, he's wearing it around there. I don't know why he's doing that. I haven't seen it yet. Seymour saying, Lex, are you okay with players wearing shoes of the opposite team's colors? No, I'm not. And this came up recently when we played the Celtics and Colin Murray-Boyles wore green shoes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that don't even signal to me something like that. You don't understand. Maybe that meaning has something meaning for you, Colin Murray-Boyles, but you know what? You're going to put off Raptors fans by wearing green shoes against the Celtics. So on Friday, when we're in Boston, I better not see you wearing green shoes again. Let's just put it that way. Yes, it does. If there's your answer right there, Seymour. Yeah, because it did when Colin did it in the last Boston game. It pissed me off. It really did, because he's gone and on about Larry Bird this, Larry Bird that, and he may want to play for the Celtics just as much as Cooper Flagg does. So Colin Murray-Boyles, you're a Raptor. And maybe when he said, oh, fuck, at the draft night when he got drafted to the Raptors, that was because in some ways he's a huge Celtics fan, and now he's playing for a divisional rival in the Raptors. I do have this theory about Colin, just so y'all know, before y'all glaze him and make him so all this and all that. He could be a turncoat at some point because of his very strong affinity for the Celtics and Larry Bird, which he goes on and on about whenever they ask him questions. They ask him about his favorite player. It's always Larry Bird. He's always glazing Larry Bird. Oh, Larry, man, he's my favorite player. I don't understand that, because you play like Charles. And honestly, I'd have more respect for you if you said, I love Charles Barkley and I want to play like him. But you're nothing like Larry Bird. You don't shoot like Larry Bird. You're not like Larry Bird. But I get it. That's who you like. But it's a big red flag with me. I'm not going to lie. Colin Murray-Boyles' affinity for the Celtics franchise is kind of a problem. Let's just put it that way. Realize who you play for, and who pays for you to play. That's the thing. I don't know if I can trust Colin. We'll see how he plays against the Celtics on Friday. You better go all out and help the Raptors beat the Celtics. And if you miss any weird free throws in the game against Boston, Colin, yeah, conspiracy theorist right here. Because it's like, look, I seen you miss free throws against the Celtics in the last game that hurt us, and in some ways partly lost us the game. So I don't want to see that repeat again. And if you're wearing green shoes, well, that's messed up, bro. What are you doing? Seriously, your pros, the Garrett Temple needs to take you aside and talk to you a little bit about perceptions and how you come off. And maybe your agent needs to tell you, man, lay off on the Larry love, man, for a little bit. because you've done like 4 interviews this year where you just go on and on about Larry Bird and how much you love him. Seriously, I mean, this is just advice from me and my perception, what I see. Some people say, "Well, you shut up. It's not a big deal." Yes, it is. Trust me, it is a big deal. And in some ways, I don't want Colin Murray-Boyles in the Celtics jersey at some point. That may be what he wants, though. That's what I have to tell y'all before y'all get all warm and cozy for him because he's playing so well right now. Just so you know, the signs are there of this, is what I'm saying. All right, let's keep going in the chat. We're at 1.5 hours. We still got another half hour before 2 hours. Infamous is saying, with the success of the 905 this year, I'm concerned other teams may come knocking for Andrew Jones in the summer. This is a great, interesting point by Infamous. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. In some ways, it's not totally how it works. This is what they would do. They're not going to hire him for a head coaching job. You think he's going to get hired for a head coaching job in the offseason? No. Would he want to go and take an assistant coaching job with another team laterally? Probably not. So if we logic this out, he's not going to get hired for one of the big jobs. In some ways, he's getting closer to that by doing what he's doing. But if I would be shocked if they hired Andrew Jones out of the 905 to go and be a head coach for one of the 30 teams this summer. Is he going to get hired by another team to be assistant coach for another team? He'll just say, I'm already good here in Toronto. I'm very happy working with Coach Darko for 3 years now. And in some, that's much more likely. What could be is a college team comes and says, hey, we love what you just did with the G League, and we want you to come to the NCAA and coach our college team. That could be more likely if he's going to leave the Raptors organization. But I don't see this. In some ways, Andrew he's going to finish the 2-year cycle of being the G League coach. He'll return to the Raptors bench, the main team, and I could see him, possibly being front bench guy. Like that's the transition that he's looking at, is like, because in some ways he's in the back bench with Eric Curry and Vin Bagnani and those guys. But he could come up front after the great performance he did with the 905 this year and sit up there with Pat Delaney and Jama and Coach Wade. I don't know. The opportunities that Coach Andrew Jones earns from very good hard work and coaching of the 905 are his to decide for himself. But if you're thinking about it realistically, the coaching opportunities in the NBA that open up in the summer are a few, and it's very competitive, and it's not likely. And he probably wouldn't accept a lateral move to another team just to be an assistant coach for another organization, unless it was a promotion as far as the hierarchy of assistant coaches and where he would be. If he's like, oh, no, we're going to make you lead assistant and you will be second head coach after the head coach here, then he may go then. I mean, I'm trying to figure out the different places where we may need to worry about this, but I think it's unlikely. And honestly, I don't know, man. I don't know what would happen. I want the best for Andrew Jones, no matter what, professionally. I'd love for him to be in the Raptors organization for as long as possible. That's what I would say. Monique saying, am I right or wrong? Both Raptors coaches will be watched closely come playoffs. Who has the better edge? I don't know. I mean, both coaches are doing fantastic jobs, and both coaches should get Coaches of the Year consideration in their respective leagues. I mean, Andrew's the current Coach of the Month, and Darko, honestly, I don't even know who's been winning Coach of the Month for the NBA, but Darko probably could have won it when we won that 9-game winning streak. He could have probably been Coach of the Month for that month. I don't even know. But yeah, I think both will be considered in their leagues for sure. Most giving me the cutoff now. W Stream, W Vibes, go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. Raptor Freak Crew, strong forever. Just help me limit the comments. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's keep climbing. Let's keep getting those W's, and let's keep our spot in the Eastern Conference standings and protect it. And that's by getting W's, Scotty Barnes. That's by getting W's. Infamous saying, Lex, I'm referring to Mitch Eurostep to the basket and two-step dribble patterns. You mean Donovan Mitchell? Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, there's so many different players he could emulate. So many. I'm not a big fan of Donovan Mitchell. So me personally, I wouldn't point him in that direction. I wouldn't myself. I mean, why doesn't he just go study Allen Iverson or just study whoever is a small shooting guard that can score? I just don't respect opponents in our league like some of y'all do. I don't respect Cooper Flagg. I don't respect Joel Embiid. I don't respect the Boston Celtics. I don't respect Draymond Green. I don't respect Donovan Mitchell. I just don't respect these people like y'all do. And in some ways, y'all saying we should go emulate these people. I'm like, fuck these people. These people to me are the enemy, and I don't want to be anything like them. Let's make ourselves who we are ourselves. That's kind of how I feel about it. Guys, let's do the straight goods on Canadian goods. Today I'm talking about streaming services. You know, Crave TV is a Canadian streaming service by Bell Media, and they are for Canadians, by Canadians, Canadian content. In some ways, this is really important. Media conglomerates in Canada are more and more owned by US corporations, and it's a really bad thing. Seriously, the most of the newspapers are owned by US companies. Most of the TV at this point is owned by US. And the only one that's really clearly Canadian is CBC. And that's why we need to fight for the CBC's existence to continue to be around, because we don't want all of our news to come from a country that may actually be very much a toxic neighbor to us. It's a toxic neighbor to Venezuela. So read the room. So value Canadian news sources and value Canadian content sources like Crave TV. So, you know, Netflix is great. It's American. You know, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, all this bullshit. You know, if you're going to have a streaming service in Canada, you should be using Crave. Seriously, because it's Canadian economy, it's Bell Media, and in some ways you're supporting the Raptors by buying Crave TV. So I would say forget about Netflix, forget about all those other things. If you're going to have a streaming service, Crave TV is your company for you. That's right. That's right. That's it. And CBC, protect the CBC, the pure journalism of Canada. And without it, we may not have a voice for our own country from Canadians. And everybody is getting their news from the Americans. That is not a good situation. Trust me. That is not a good situation. That is not for sure. All right, let me keep going. And with my tabs real quick, I've got some more stuff to go over. We got the Instagram stories. Where in the world is Serge Ibaka? Well, wherever it is, it's -1 Celsius. And I think it's France. He was in France a couple of days ago. So I think he's still around Paris. And that's where he is, -1. Savannah Hamilton has some interesting things posted on her Instagram right now. It's 1 month to go till the Winter Olympics. Not very excited about that. She's celebrating unrivaled career high for on the Lunar Owls for who's that? Who's that player? Oh, Aaliyah Edwards, Canadian Aaliyah Edwards got 23 points and 12 rebounds in the Unrivaled League. That's very interesting. Here's an interesting post by Savannah Hamilton. She just posted this morning. This is amazing. She said that in 2025, the WNBA average viewership was 960,000 people per game. And last year, the NHL average viewership was half that at 440,000. The average WNBA base salary is $100,000. The average NHL base salary is $3.8 million. And, you know, despite averaging 2 times the TV viewership of the NHL, WNBA players earn just barely anything of their pay. So everybody thinks that the WNBA don't make no money. They get more viewership and are making more money than the NHL in some ways. And that's the pay, 100,000 to almost 4 million for the average hockey player. And people are going to say that the WNBA players are asking for what they don't deserve. That is racist and sexist. Is a lot of the opinions about that. They don't want black women to make that money. Is part of what it is what I'm saying. I'm just going to be straight up about it. Let's see. Nafisa Collier saying, be on the side with Unrivaled. I know what it takes to run a sustainable business. So I think that if they can't find a model that makes that happen, they need to put people in place who can. She's talking about the commissioner, Kathy, that if she can't figure this out to make the work stoppage go away and move things along for the WNBA season this year, that they need to fire her and put somebody who can figure it out. Because that's what it sounds like. In some ways, Kathy does probably need to get fired, Adam Silver. You're holding on to your crony and your friend because you just feel like you need to. She's dragging you down, and she's a failed leader. And in some ways, until you change that, you may not figure this thing out. And you need to watch out because there could be a strong pivot away from the infrastructure of the NBA and the WNBA of all the female basketball players towards a league like Unrivaled. And then all of a sudden you've got an ABA, NBA problem like they did in the 70s. So you better watch out, Adam Silver. And you and the owners better not be too greedy, and you better start paying these players what they want because they have another show in town that they can go in and be involved in otherwise, is what I'll say to that right there. Yeah, AJ Lawson on his Instagram celebrating the win by the 905 last night. It's awesome. Yeah, somebody is filming him at courtside. There's Elijah Martin with all kinds of pictures of him in the game last night, hitting threes and making fantastic drives to the basket and laying it up off the glass, dishing it to Pat McCaw for his dunk. That was a beautiful play. Yeah, Elijah was on fire, and he was definitely the number one star for the game last night. I agree with that. Leo Routens has a really funny clip where it's showing love for Leo, and he's like looking through the table all forlorn, and then he smiles. It's funny. It's a funny little clip there. I like that. Let's see what else we got. Teresa Resch was at the Scepters game last night. It was her first PWHL game of the new year, and she was taking in the women's hockey at the Coca-Cola Coliseum last night. Pretty cool. Also, they posted a thing yesterday, tip-off 2026, a snapshot of the year ahead. And this is all the listing for WNBA's Toronto Tempo that we got to look forward to. Schedule release, WNBA expansion draft, free agency, mascot reveal, court unveil, WNBA college draft, Rebel jersey unveil, training camp, preseason, inaugural game, Montreal games, Vancouver games. What does that say? Ownership announcements, Tempo Live, which sounds like they're going to do a Tempo Live like show or something like that. Commissioner's Cup, WNBA All-Star Weekend, and community programming. Interesting. So these are all things to look forward to with the Tempo this season coming ahead, coming up in the near future. Let's see. Is there anything else on the Instagram that I really want to do? Probably not. It's all kind of just not anything that interesting otherwise. All right, there you go. There's your Instagram stories for today. Serge Ibaka's in -1 degrees Celsius weather somewhere. We do not have a birthday today, unfortunately. Let me see. Is there any breaking news about Raptors land right now? No. Josh Lindbergh has a new article out on Sandro Mamu, and there's Sandro has imposter syndrome. He worries that he's not good enough to be in the league. He worries that he's just not good enough in different ways. I mean, his friend Alessandro talked about it with me when I went to the game, saying that Sandro's a really humble guy and he battles with confidence issues. And sometimes he feels like he's undeserving of what's happening to him. And people need to build him up and say, "No, dude, you're amazing. You're awesome. We love you. You're doing so many good things. Trust me. Just trust us, all right?" So, yeah, sometimes Sandro needs that encouragement is what we've learned. And there's an article out by Josh Lindbergh that kind of illustrates some of the issues that Sandro Mamukelashvili has dealt with over his career, and some of it is imposter syndrome, that feeling where you get, wow, am I actually who I'm supposed to be right here? You know what I'm saying? Kareem saying, do NBA coaches get paid under the cap, or is it from the owners like the NFL? I'm not totally sure about that. I don't think it is part of the cap. I don't think the coaches are part of the cap. All right, let's see. Let's go into the classic card. Let's see what I get. Okay, we'll do this. This is a classic. We'll see who knows their classic NBA players. All right, full name answer. The person that writes in the full name answer first will get the classic card of the day. Who is this player right here, guys? Do you know who this player is? If you know who it is, write it in right away and get it. If you don't, I'll start giving you guys clues. It is a classic card. This is an old player. This is not a recent player. So it may be tougher for some of the newer fans. If you're an old head like me and you've been watching the NBA since the 80s, you may know who this guy is. You might know who this guy is. Let's see. Nobody wants to answer yet. Nobody has a clue so far. If I get one answer, then maybe I'll do a clue real quick on his name and how it is going. But yeah, nobody wants to try this. They're scared. Look at that. Look at that face. Look at those eyes. That's right. You have no idea, Seymour. That's right. Smooth, slugged easy. Yeah, none of these guys are here right now. The classic card dudes are not here right now. So just throw in a name, somebody, and I'll riff off of that. That's right. Hold on. What are you doing? You gonna look it up, Seymour? You got to put the ball down. He's got to stop taking shots. He's gonna find out who this is. Maybe he has a friend working with him. Who's this? You go look at it. You're thinking, okay. Looks like CMB a little bit like CMB, a little bit. Looks like Ron Artest. That's also another kind of interesting guess. Resemblance in the dreads. Earl Watson. Yeah, that's not Earl Watson. These are all interesting guesses, though. Interesting guesses. Okay, here's the clue. He has the same last name as a very famous fast food icon who also lived in Hamilton or Mississauga. He lived in Mississauga for the last part of his life, and he's revered in Japan. Like every Christmas, the Japanese people love this fast food icon, and so his last name is the same as that guy. Yeah, Mike Sanders. That's right, Smooth. That's right, Mike Sanders. And Colonel Sanders was the man I was talking about. Yeah, you wrote it Saunders, but I'll go ahead and give it to you. You just messed up with the U should be flipped to an N. That's all. Sodders. Mike Sodders? Yeah, maybe in shop class in high school. But yeah, Mike Sanders. Yeah. And did you get that from my KFC clue? Because it's like, yeah, Colonel Sanders lived in Mississauga, and he's revered in Japan because everybody in Japan eats KFC. Everybody. Yeah, you ain't heard of him. You never heard of Mike Sanders? Pacers legend, Cleveland Cavalier. He was on a couple teams there. See, Suns, Cavs, Pacers at this point. Yeah. Yeah. He's just a bench guy. It's a bench guy. He kind of played with Reggie, I think, Reggie Miller. Yeah. All right. Let me run it down, guys, real quick. We'll do a wrap up on the latest lineup news and the ref report, and we'll be out of here. For the Raptors, Jakob Poeltl is still out tonight, but the good news is he's in contact in practice again, and it's likely he could be back for Boston on Friday. If not, he'll be back for some of those Philly games. He'll probably play in one of those Philly games for sure. I will say that. He'll probably play in one of the Philly games for sure, and probably, hopefully, will play against Boston on Friday. Chucky is still out also. We know that because he did not play for the Raptors 905 last night. The Charlotte Hornets have a laundry list of guys on their injury report right now. Tijani Salone is questionable for tonight due to his ankle. Brandon Miller is probable. He has a left knee contusion. Musa Diabate is probable also with a wrist sprain. Grant Williams is out. Ryan Kalkbrenner is out. And Mason Plumlee is out also. So, yeah, LaMelo, Con Knipple, Miles Bridges, Josh Green, Musa Diabate starting lineup, something like that maybe. So, yeah, they'll have their main three guys, but they won't have their center, which is interesting. The referees for tonight are Brett Bernecki. He's the crew chief, the lawyer. He favors the Raptors statistically. Scott Twardowski is the referee. He slightly favors the Raptors. And Jenna Schroeder is the umpire. She favors slightly the Raptors also. So, but the Charlotte Hornets have a bad record. That's part of why over the years. And that's part of the why. The Raptors were ranked in today's ESPN Power Rankings at number 12 in the league, falling from 11 last week to 12. And the Sixers are the team that leapfrogged us. So, yeah, you go ahead and put that up on the bulletin board, Darko, for the players right there. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream. Stars of the game for the Raptors 905 game last night: Elijah Martin, Quincy Guerrier, Olivier Sarr, AJ Hogarth, and AJ Lawson. And y'all buy Crave if you're going to have a streaming service. Support Canada. That's right. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Oh, you guys filled it up a little bit more when I got done here. Autocorrect turned. Hang on. Autocorrect turned into you. That's smooth. Got it before you started giving the clue, Lex. Okay. There's Jakob on blast. I like that. Seymour saying Robert Pack or Harold Miner in a dunk contest. Who you taking? That's an interesting last second shot. Seymour Pate. In a dunk contest, I'll take Robert Pack. Harold Miner, baby Jordan, was too similar to Jordan, and he really didn't play well as a player in the league. He did do dunk contests, but his dunks to me were very Vince Carter-esque and early on, and he did do some very acrobatic stuff, but it wasn't that impressive to me. It was definitely not the same as Vince, but he was a similar kind of dunker, kind of spinny, kind of bring the ball around like this kind of dunker. Now, Robert Pack, he was an in-game dunker. He would dunk on people in the middle of regular season games. Like he'd go and jump over centers as a 6'4" point guard. So I have way more respect for Robert Pack because he was a real NBA player and Harold Miner wasn't. And also, in some ways, his dunking ferocity and his ability to leap over people, I would pick that over the athletic finesse of Harold Miner any day. So, is that the answer you wanted to hear that? Yeah. Who am I taking? Well, for me personally, I enjoy Pack's dunking more than Miner's because Vince Carter did what Harold Miner did way better than him. And so did Michael Jordan. That's right. That's right. Kevin Johnson. Well, Kevin Johnson's more like Robert Pack because he could do those in-game dunks in the NBA as a little guy too, and it was impressive. Of course, Kevin Johnson didn't really have. It wasn't like these dunks were like artistic; they were just very raw and powerful, and they weren't really pleasant to watch. It's not like Kevin Johnson should be in the dunk contest, but if he dunked in the game, that was impressive. That was impressive. W stream, W community. Thank you, Kaz. Morning, everyone. All right. It's whoop the Hornets ass day alert. All right, Kaloy. Better late than never, right? That's it right there. Yeah, and beat you got hammers for the Hornets. I like that, Fiercey. All right, I'm gonna give you a dunk for getting hammers out and chasing the Hornets around with hammers. That's your first dunk of the year right there, Fiercey. An emoticon dunk. And let's see. Fiercey saying, just for the record, fam, I'm not a violent person. I was just looking for a crush emoji. No, I like it. I like it. It's cool. The symbolism is there. Thank you, Isaac, for the 5-man crew. And Wayne saying, morning, Raptor Freaks. Wow, everybody's just showing up. Y'all know it's like the end of my stream at 2 hours, right? It's 11:11. Make a wish. Beat the Hornets. That's my wish. Let's see. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Late standings. We're number 5 now. Sixers are ahead. What? No, that's not true. That's not what I saw this morning. If that is true, that's messed up and it shouldn't be right. No, we're still in 4th. You're wrong. We're a game and a half ahead of Philadelphia. They lost last night, guys. Just so you know, the Sixers did not win last night. They lost. So they fell further behind us. We have a 1.5 game lead over the Sixers, and we are 1.5 games behind the Knicks in number 3. So yeah, Wayne, that's not true. That's not true. Let's see. Isaac's saying give Seymour 3 weeks and his paint presence will be on par with Sar. I'd hope he could do that sooner than that. Maybe give him an afternoon. That's funny. All right, we'll give him a dunk. Seymour, Isaac, holy crap, man. You're ridiculous sometimes with your silliness. All right, you're at 9. You got that RJ 9 already, man. 3 dunks for Isaac now. Let's see. Seymour saying at 6'5", 230, I'm a wing at best. I don't know, man. To me, like with that size, you're a power forward, bro. You're a power forward because you're tall enough to be a center in rec games. If you're playing against average size people, you're the tallest guy out there most of the time. I know I am. I end up at pickup games and I'm playing center, even though I'm naturally fit at like 2 or 3. I'll be out there as center if I'm the tallest guy on the court. I will change the way I'm supposed to play if I read that. Like if I'm the tallest dude on the court, I need to be the anchor. I'll play pivot. I will. I used to make those adjustments all the time. And I'm not a bad pivot, honestly. I've got really long arms and I shot block. I can actually block shots really good. I have good timing to block shots. But if you've got a proper lineup at 6'4" for me, it's me at guard. But man, you got size. You're 230. That's solid. That's solid. So I would say you're like a tractor trailer, bro. You're either a tractor trailer or like you're somebody who could play 4 or 5 in regular pickup, as far as I'm concerned. Because you seem like one of the biggest guys that would probably be out there. Let's just put it that way. Because yeah, that's tall, man. Yeah. Oh, you heard me wrong? Nah. Yeah, we're not. We're lucky. We're still in 4th. We're still in 4th. Thank God. Yeah. We're so tall. It was weird, Kaloy, when we have Raptor Freak get-togethers. It's amazing how everybody's so tall. Like it was always that way. We get together and like all the guys are like my height. We're all like 6'4", 6'5". And that's why I was like, man, we need to build a team. Like we should play as a team. Because I was like, man, we have like a lot of tall dudes around the Raptor Freak stream. Like it was crazy. Like, yeah, a lot of us are tall. Let's see. Smooth saying maybe one or two by professional standards. One or two. Oh, for Seymour by professional standards. I mean, yeah, but that's not what we're playing in this world. It's not likely you're going to be against NBA size in pickup games for the most part. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would say like back in the day, Seymour would be like a very strong shooting guard. He'd be like an Alvin Robertson from our first year on the Raptors. He's about the same height and not, he's a little bit heavier than Alvin. He's like 220, but 230, 6'5, 230, that's a very powerful second guard, like a shooting guard that has a good enough height to play that because Joe Dumars was 6'4 and he was around 220. So yeah, Seymour would be like a classic 80s shooting guard. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I don't think he would be the point guard though. I don't think he would be. Yeah. Let's see. Kaz saying Lex and Seymour, what's your wingspans? I don't know, man. You tell me, dude. You tell me. You can see right here. I mean, you can see, that's the wing, one of them right there. You can see that. I don't know. I probably got like, I mean, I can almost reach up and grab the rim just standing on my feet. I can almost. I mean, it's not totally right. Maybe I'm like a half foot away. I can almost do it though. I can almost do it. Let's see. Seymour saying I played the shooting guard position my whole life. See that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm more naturally slotted small forward, but I have been a shooting guard in the past because I was a decent shooter, and I'm a slasher. I'm somebody who like attack the rim, not attack it like dunking, but like layups and go at the basket. Yeah. Seymour saying this, or Isaac saying Raptors Freak have a positionless starting lineup. Yeah, we would with all the guys we used to have. Of course, some of these guys that were tall that were around us are not around us anymore. And thank God, honestly. I feel like in some ways time changes, things happen. And in some ways you just got to kind of shed your skin over time and the right people stick around and stick with you. That's what I say. But yeah, we're tall group. We're a tall group. You're around 5'9", Kaz. Well, that's all right. That's all right. I know Kareem's average height. Isaac's not super tall either. So it's not like all of us are 6'5". Well, we can have these different positions, we'll have different people in different spots and different things. All right. Anyway, y'all, I'm just rambling at this point. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream today. I hope everybody has a great Wednesday. And let's beat the Hornets today, like y'all are saying. I would say the Raptors, my advice for you is to build off of the great stuff you've been doing in the last two games against Atlanta. And that's connection. That's finding each other. You guys make each other better. Grady is better when you guys find him. You guys are better with RJ out on the court because he's the straw that stirs the drink and he gets people involved. He makes more space for people. He gives Brandon better opportunities to have better shots. He makes Scotty get more assists and Scotty play at a higher level. So continue to do what y'all are doing. And on both ends, it's different. Communicate and be there for each other on team defense. And then on offense, move that ball around and look for the highest percentage shot. Look for the highest percentage shot and get each other involved. And we will win because we are more talented on paper than the Charlotte Hornets. We have a player named Brandon Ingram. And when you have him on the court, you're usually having the best scorer on the court in most situations. Not every game. There's going to be some teams that are going to have better scorers on the other side. But most of the time, it's going to be Brandon. Is the most powerful player in Raptors games going forward. So, and Scotty, he has his whole other, what he does. Colin, continue to build off of what you've been doing recently also. And you're probably going to get the start tonight too. Although, maybe he'll start Sandro, probably start Colin. He'll probably start Colin because he wants to keep building on that. Yeah, he wants to keep building on that. Yeah, let's see. Oh, I've got more comments real quick. Let's see. Isaac's saying Kaz and I are a shed and IQ combo. There you go. I like that. Seymour's got a 73 as his wingspan. That's interesting. Kareem's saying, I love Jimmy Kimmel and other late night hosts, but we need to stop normalizing evil. The jokes were funny, but not anymore. Yeah, I'm totally with this. I think the Daily Show's been amazing for, in some ways, informing people the news and stuff like that. But at this point, we're normalizing stuff into society that is absolutely reprehensible. And most of us should be in the streets saying this is not acceptable and we need to change everything back. because in some ways we're not going to be able to change things back if it gets ensconced and instituted too heavily and strong into it. And this is dangerous because the society of the United States is moving towards is a dictatorship oligarchy like Russia. And that is not the society for American people, true Americans that believe in freedom and rights and justice for all. You know, if you are going to be that country, you got to prove it again. And it's going to take a lot of crazy stuff to overhaul the weird shit that Project 2025 installed in your country last year. And oh man, I'm with you on this. And I understand exactly what you're talking about, Kareem. Colbert and Kimmel and those guys do a good job. But also at the same time, if you're making it all a joke, is it as serious to everybody as it should be in an emergency situation that the United States is in right now? That is what you have to ask yourself. That's what you have to ask yourself right there. That's a very serious comment to put right at the end here. W from Isaac. Kareem wants to be the point guard. Okay. Have a great day, y'all. There's IQ. There's Shed. I love it. And Isaac, yeah, you're getting laps. All right. I'm going to give a dunk to both the dunk champions at the end here, one for seriousness and one for being silly. So 12 for Isaac and Kareem. You are getting your first. You're at 9. You're at the RJ9 now for the season so far this year. All right, y'all. Let's go Raptors. I'm at 2 hours. I'm out of here. Let's go Raptors. Beat the Hornets. Don't mess around. We want to even the season series tonight. So let's beat the Hornets in their home court tonight, Scotty. Don't mess around, Brandon, Scotty, Emmanuel, and RJ. You guys got this. I believe in y'all.